Do you believe that the archivist has the power to certify amendments to the Constitution when there is a dispute as to how many states have ratified the amendment?
Thank you, Mr. Ranking Member. As I understand it, the function before the Archivist of the United States is what has been described as ministerial in function. So the Archivist publishes an amendment when it is part of the Constitution, not the decider.
Very good, and I think that's exactly right. In some ways, it would probably be similar to sort of the certification of an election. You know, when the vice president comes in, it was thought to be ministerial, not that the vice president had the power to change or alter the election. Will you allow security at the archives to force people to cover clothing that has political speech on it?
Thank you, Mr. Ranking Member, for that question. Absolutely not.
Will you get to the bottom of how it happened to make sure that we don't have people, I don't know if this was a rogue person out there doing this or if the previous, those in charge were encouraging this, but will you promise to get to the bottom of it?
Absolutely, Mr. Ranking Member.
I think one of the things American people hate most about government is when it appears as if justice or the adjudication of justice is partial. You know, when, Lady Liberty's not blind, Lady Justice is not blind, that there are different standards for people depending on their party. And at least from where I sit, a lot of Republicans felt like there was a different standard, and it'd be really in the way the FBI treated Donald Trump and Joe Biden. The bigger problem, though, I think, is that everything's classified. We classify everything. The menu at the White House is supposedly classified. So, I mean, we've got problems with too much classification, but it also makes oversight difficult. So, for example, 1 million Americans died from COVID. Somewhere between 12, 15, maybe 18 million people died worldwide from COVID. And I can't get records from the NIH. Because they classify them, or they send them to us. The NIH, I think it was HHS, sent us a 250-page document and redacted the whole thing. This is just sort of an insult, and I don't know how we get to it. You don't have complete control of this, but I think you have some control over the older records. How do you understand your role on the older records with being part of declassifying older records?
Thank you for that question. Yes, as I understand it, the agency that classifies information has the responsibility for and the choice to declassify that information. But there is the National Declassification Center at the National Archives located in Maryland. And if I am confirmed, I plan to, of course, visit the National Declassification Center and also prioritize, as you said, Mr. Ranking Member, the older records that are waiting for declassification, figuring out how we can be most efficient in doing this and how we can strengthen relationships with those classifying agencies, those classifying entities, so that we are able to move some of these older documents through the process. I agree with that.
And really, just for the record here on the presidential, controversy, what we're stuck with now is, millions of dollars will be spent on these investigations, and there should be an investigation of neither Biden nor Trump nor Pence on this. They should be told, what these are the rules, and we should try to work with people that were in office. I think we're not going to find that the secrets to making, a nuclear weapon were at someone's house. I think we're going to find that a lot of stuff's classified that doesn't need to be classified. But it began with sort of a witch hunt for Trump. Everybody loved it. The media cackled and rubbed their hands together, and it went on for weeks and weeks. They had Donald Trump. They were going to get him. They're going to put him in jail like all the rest of the governments, that are controlled by one party around the country. They just had glee until Biden was found to have records in a much less secure place next to his, Corvette in his garage. But I think we've overreacted to both. And I've talked with the chairman and others on the other side that we need to do something about this overclassification problem. And what little part you can be of it, and I realize and don't want you to create law, but what you can do on the older records, I think we would appreciate trying to get less. And I look forward to working with the chairman on trying to change this, because we can't have true oversight of government if HHS and NIH is telling us, it's none of your business. I mean, we really have to get a hold of what's going on. And to me, the COVID thing isn't about isn't about Biden at all. A lot of this happened in the previous administration, so it shouldn't be partisan at all. We should all want to find these records. I'm going to reserve my time for later, if that's okay.
That's fine.